Good morning. It's time for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Dick. And, here we go into the spring sports season after Easter here. We're going to get really into it. Yeah. Just want to remind people that if you miss our show, we do have archives on our website, cwbradio.com, for all of that.
With the cute little logo.
Yes. All right. So a lot of stuff to catch up on. Let's go back to this past weekend where it was the NCAA College Wrestling Championships, and an area wrestler did pretty well.
Yeah, Stephen Buchanan. Of course, Stephen was a 2019 graduate of Loyal High School, wrestled for NGL, two-time state champion, and he's now wrestling at the University of Oklahoma, and he finished third out there, Larry. He was seeded eighth to begin the tournament. His first match, he defeated Benjamin Smith from Cleveland State, Tech Fall. And then in his second match, he defeated Stephen Little from Little Rock University 14-3. That got him into the quarterfinals where he matched up with eventual champion Aaron Brooks from Penn State, and Aaron Brooks pinned him in the second period. So that put Stephen in consolation where he defeated John Poznansky from Rutgers 8-5. And then in his next match in consolation, he defeated the fourth seed Michael Beard from Lehigh 12-1. And his next match in consolation, he defeated the number 3 seed, Tanner Sloan from South Dakota, who had the previous week had also been the Big 12 champion.
Oh,
so
okay.
He defeated him 6-2. In the semifinals, that got him into the third place match where he defeated Jacob Cardenas of Cornell 9-4 and to win the third place medal and All-American honors and finish his season at 30 wins and 3 losses. And quite a bit of this season, Larry, he's been hobbled by injuries. So pretty decent season for him. So,
sounded like he had a lot of wrestling there at the end.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I'll tell you what, you get into consolation, it takes a while to come back, but he did. And I'll tell you what, he handled some tough kids pretty well in that consolation.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
You bet. So,
good for him.
You bet.
So an All-American for Stephen Buchanan.
Yeah, second time All-American now.
Good for him.
Yep. So.
All right. And then we had some high school individuals from Neillsville that set personal bests in track and field last Saturday at UW La Crosse. It was hosted by Mauston. It was called the Mauston Golden Eagle Invite.
Right.
And a couple of guys set some personal bests. Cam Kennedy in the long jump.
Yeah, 20 feet.
20 feet, 1.5 inches.
Wow, that's tremendous. And I believe he finished fourth, or something.
Finished sixth.
Sixth, okay.
In the long jump.
Yeah,
but there were some good schools
my
there.
Goodness.
Wow.
I looked at those schools, and holy cow.
Yeah, I think Holman took first for both the boys and the girls.
And Holman has a tremendous program. And
yeah.
I said, wow. But Landon Kummer, personal best, I believe in the 55 hurdles, and he did finish fourth. And so
8.87 seconds
wow.
in the 55-meter hurdles.
Hard to imagine, isn't it?
Yeah. Not nowadays for me. No.
Yeah.
No. But, some other guys, individuals did pretty well. Gabby Kuhn, fourth in the pole vault for the girls.
That's excellent. Yeah, she's really come on in the last year. She's going to be a contender at the conference this year. And, who knows, possible state competition for Gabby Kuhn. She's really improved over the last couple of years and going to be a contender, I think. So.
Lily Miller of Black River Falls finished 5th in the 1,600 and 7th in the 800-meter run.
Okay, yeah,
those are all points you get for your team.
Yep. So.
But, that was in the Mauston Golden Eagle Invite at UW La Crosse last week.
And track teams, nothing going on this week until next week, I believe. So.
A lot of stuff going on after Easter.
Yeah, it's this week.
We'll get into it pretty
this
good.
Week, Neillsville is on spring break. I believe Marshfield is on spring break. So pretty much, and of course with the weather, too.
Yeah. Weather didn't help much for outdoor activities.
That took the outdoor stuff right out of it, but we knew it was going to happen, so sometime. But
Speaking of outdoors, Fall Creek will now be on their own in baseball. They're not going to co-op with Black River Falls.
And that's pretty interesting because Neillsville goes over there next week.
Yes, Neillsville's first game will be at Fall Creek, scheduled anyway, for next Tuesday.
And that is a boy and girl thing. Both the softball team and the baseball team are going over there.
Yes.
So,
and Matt Prissel is the head coach for Fall Creek, and he was a member of their state tournament team back in 1998.
Yeah, well-known Matt Prissel, pretty good baseball man.
It's interesting because 8 members of that team are freshmen.
Okay.
And our 14U team in our spring ball played that team last year, and they are good. Yes. Those freshmen or those 8th graders were good.
Yeah, that'd be interesting how they adjust to the varsity sport.
Sure.
But it takes you back, and it's not the same sport, but Remember when Chad Hansen came to Greenwood as football coach, he started a bunch of freshmen. They took their beating. By their senior year, they were a state champion. And I think Coach Prissel has to look at this at the same direction.
Yeah, and I think, by the looks of those guys last year, they were very talented baseball players.
Yeah, they're going to be a good ball club. Yeah. I wonder where that leaves Black River Falls. Hard to say. But
I don't know if it was more Black River Falls or Fall Creek that needed the help.
Yeah. It was just, to me, it was a real puzzling co-op anyway.
Yeah. I don't know how that came about, but they did it for 2 years, and now Fall Creek will be on their own in the Western Clover Belt. Speaking of baseball, the WisSports.net baseball preview for conferences started to come out, and the Clover Belt East, interesting on who they feel is going to be the top dog in the East.
They feel Columbus, but he did say they could put Nielsville down as one. It could put down as 1A and 1B. So,
because Nielsville won the conference last year
and has won it 6 out of the last 10 years also. So, but both teams have just about everybody back. Nielsville does have everybody back. Columbus has just about everybody back. It should be a pretty good couple of games there.
And again, the way the conference schedule is set up, they play like Columbus Catholic and Nielsville will play like on a Tuesday and play again on a Thursday.
Right, yeah.
Or Friday.
Pretty interesting. So the whole thing is a little different. I did not realize till reading this article that Owen Withee was not fielding a varsity team this year.
I did not know that either. And then I looked at the schedule for Nielsville, and they do have it crossed out.
Yeah, canceled on there.
They're going to Cadott, one of the matchups.
Yep. They are starting off pretty good. They've got a matchup with Auburndale, I see, and I believe Stratford.
Stratford is in that first week.
So they're going to test themselves a little bit on non-conference because, and that's pretty good for these kids too.
Yeah.
They should be able to handle it too.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you want to be up there with the best, you got to start playing with the best.
I should say, WisSports.net looks at Spencer as the third place team.
Yep.
6 starters back. They have Loyal 4th, but they said Loyal is the team to watch in 2025. Gilman 5th and Greenwood 6th.
Loyal's got a lot of young talent.
And those kids, a lot of them played last year, and most of them will be sophomores this year. So, but we'll see what happens next year. So,
I look at that Loyal team kind of like what Nielsville has this year.
Absolutely,
a lot of young kids playing,
and they've come up all the way through the ranks, Larry, from 10U to 12U.
I remember seeing them all the way up.
Yep, they've been all together, and so, but. Anyway, WisSports.net also, I brought in Merriwood South and Merriwood North.
Okay.
Merriwood South, they've got Marathon, of course, and Marathon should be a solid team. They've got Stratford 2, Edgar 3, and Auburndale 4th. Stratford and Edgar are both ranked in the state in the preseason. So, and I'm not sure about Auburndale, but then Assumption 5th, Newman 6th. And then on the north side, they've got Abbey Colby at 1. Abbey Colby is ranked like 20th in Division 2, I believe. And then Rib Lake, a good solid, and they are also ranked at 2, Athens 3, Phillips 4, Shawamigan 5th, and Prentice 6. So.
Speaking of Abbey Colby, they traveled to Tennessee recently here and beat a team from Indiana 11-0 in 5 innings.
Yeah.
So
they're going to be a good ball club. They were tough last year. Now, being in Division 2 is a whole different animal too. But they will be the team to beat, I think, in the Merriwood North. But being in Division 2, you see a whol lot of different baseball than they will see during the regular season, and that is probably why they are making this trip to Tennessee and things like that.
A team like them, it's some teams like Columbus Catholic, it's kind of advantageous for them to play in a Clover Belt because they play against bigger schools. But Abbotsford Colby's going to play against smaller schools, and they have to play bigger schools in the tournament.
They're playing in a Division 2, and they are playing primarily D4 schools. In their conference.
So
it's
but I mean, they're playing some pretty good D4 schools.
But you can schedule schools like Marathon Stratford who are D3 too. It's going to be interesting. Abbey Colby, see how good they do. But, it's good to see good. Abbotsford has always been a good baseball town. And it's good to see.
You bet. All right, in girls softball, some teams got underway last week because they got the big Hodag Dome up there in Rhinelander.
A lot of teams up there.
And one of those teams that was up there was Marshfield. And Gene Delisio had a chance to talk with Marshfield girls softball coach Becky Linzmeier, and she starts off the conversation by talking about her team this year.
Well, I'm really excited about the group of girls that we have, and including not just the varsity, but as the program in a whole, as far as JV as well. I think we have some girls that the future is very bright, but also the players that are playing right now, we're going to be competitive in our games, and we have kids that really are buying into what we're asking them to do as far as their roles and just the energy that they bring to practices, that I expect a lot from them, and hopefully as the season goes, we will be out on the field more than we are inside, and looking at getting out there. I don't think we're a team necessarily that we are good to play multiple doubleheaders back to back to back, but I think if our schedule stays the way it is, I think we'll be competitive down the road.
You had a chance to see your team in action over the weekend at that Rhinelander tournament. What are your impressions of what you saw from your ball club last weekend?
I think there's a lot of excitement. Going into Rhinelander, I told the girls and my coaches that we're going to use this as an opportunity, kind of like spring training in the major leagues. We're going to give kids opportunities to see the field, put them in different playing positions, maybe some positions that they haven't ever played, and really get them see what they can do on the field. And I think we did a decent job of that. We lost 2 games, but I think part of that was giving kids opportunities, and it might be just not coming up with a timely hit here or there. So I was happy with the results. I think we learned a lot about what we have and what we need to work on. It's early in the season, as I told the girls, and so I think senior leadership is going to be strong for us. I think there's some underclassmen who are going to be stepping up for us, which is awesome to see, and players that are understanding again the role, be it a courtesy runner, a pinch runner, pinch hitter, just somebody for defensive situations. So I think, once we hit conference play, it should hopefully all be coming together.
Tell us about some of the returners you have this year and where they fit into this year's ball club.
Well, we have our pitcher, Caitlin Sternice. She's back. She's a senior, and we're going to be looking to her for her leadership in the circle for us. She pitched well last year, but she's really come out well this spring as well. Shyla Brogan is another center fielder for us. She last week she hit 714 up in Rhinelander, and that was with her only playing 2 out of the 3 games. So, again, her leadership and her expertise in the outfield is going to be crucial. We got Ashlyn Barwick at shortstop, who Ashlyn's been playing shortstop now for the last 2 years. Again, her speed, if we can get her on base, and her leadership qualities will definitely help us. We have a couple other seniors that I'm looking forward to knowing and getting them into the game as best we can. But then, we also have some newer players that are getting their first action on the varsity field.
How about your coaching staff for this year?
The coaching staff, Mike Voss is returning. I'm so glad he's back with me. He's a veteran of the Marshfield softball program. He's probably coached, I think he told me, 26, 27 years in the Marshfield program, going all the way back to when Pete Kapleen was head coach. And then another assistant varsity coach is Lauren Jacoby. Lauren is a former alumni and player from a couple years ago. She's coming in to help this year. And then at her JV level, former athlete, former softball player, Jordan Pretch is taking over as our JV. So I'm really, again, I feel fortunate and blessed to have people on staff that know the game, try to do what's right, and really make our program proud for the long history that we've had.
All right, that's head coach Becky Linzmeier of Marshfield, and again, they were up at that Hodag Dome. They had a little kind of a tournament up there.
Yeah, they had all different size schools
Yeah.
up there too. I believe Spencer went up there too.
Thorpe was up there.
Yeah, you bet. So,
Athens, I believe, was up there. Stratford did very well in their division.
what a great way to guarantee yourself some games.
Right.
Schedule in something like that. You know,
it's interesting because it's kind of played on the football field and is kind of mark it off for softball.
you bet. Yeah, but it's still softball,
right.
And it's a good thing. And they do that down at that dome in Wisconsin Dells too.
Sure.
By I forget the name of the resort there, but
Yeah.
they have a lot of wrestling there. But anyway, it's
Marshfield will get their season back underway on Tuesday. They go to Merrill
okay.
for a conference game.
Yeah, hopefully the weather gets straightened out this weekend,
Yeah.
and hopefully teams can go back at her. So.
It was nice to see the snow kind of cleared out quick.
Yes.
For spring
Yeah,
sports. It was here Monday and gone Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah, and then the rain. So
Yeah.
but I think they're as dry as the fields were and stuff. I would think this soaks in and should make the fields even better.
Well,
So,
I think all it needed was moisture. Now with the
Yeah.
sunshine,
yeah,
it's going to green up pretty quick.
You bet. So,
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's go to where are they now here in the
Okay,
show.
Larry, I'm going up to Thorpe, and I'm going to talk about Jesse Krzyzanowski. And Jesse was a 2002 graduate of Thorpe High School. He was a 3-year letter winner on the Cardinal football team. His sophomore year, the Cardinals were 2-7, and Jesse was the starting quarterback, completing 48 out of 107 passes for 410 yards and 5 touchdowns, and also started at defensive back where he had 23 tackles and 1 pass interception. His junior year, the Cardinals were 6-4 on the season, qualifying for the WIA Division V playoffs, where they would lose in Level 1 to Glenwood City. Jesse completed 68 out of 130 passes for 625 yards and 8 touchdowns, and rushed for 260 yards and 2 touchdowns. On defense, he had 36 tackles and 1 pass interception. He was named second-team All-Conference at quarterback in the small clover belt. His senior year, Thorpe was 8-3 on the season, qualifying for the WIA Division VI playoffs, where they would lose to Owen Withey in Level 2. Jesse completed 112 out of 182 passes for 860 yards and 11 touchdowns, and rushed for 230 yards and 3 touchdowns. On defense, he had 42 tackles and 2 pass interceptions. He was a first-team selection as a quarterback on the small clover belt All-Conference team and honorable mention on defense. He was also named to the second team on the All-Northwest team. In the winter, Jesse was a 3-year letter winner on the Cardinal basketball team. His sophomore year, the Cardinals were 6-15 on the year, losing to Colby in the regionals. Jesse averaged 7 points per game. His junior year, the Cardinals were 12-10 on the year, losing to Pittsville in the regionals. Jesse averaged 10 points and 3 rebounds per game and was an honorable mention choice on the Western Clover Belt All-Conference team. His senior year, Thorpe was 11-10 on the season, losing to Prentice in the regionals. Jesse averaged 12 points and 5 rebounds on the season and was a second-team choice on the Western Clover Belt All-Conference team. In the spring, Jesse was a 3-year letter winner on the Cardinal baseball team. His sophomore year, the Cardinals were 5-14 on the season, losing to Stratford in the regionals. Jesse, as an outfielder and pitcher, batted .265 with 3 RBIs. His junior year, Thorpe was 6-15 on the season, losing to Rib Lake in the regionals. Jesse batted .288 on the season with 8 RBIs and was honorable mention choice on the Western Conference All-Conference team. His senior year, Thorpe was 4-15 on the season, losing to McDonald in the regionals. Jesse batted .310 on the season that year and was a second-team All-Conference choice. After graduation, Jesse enrolled at UW Eau Claire and joined the Blue Gold football program. His freshman year, the Blue Golds were 8-2 on the season. Jesse, as a backup quarterback, completed 1 out of 2 passes for the season. His sophomore year, the Blue Golds were 5-5 on the season. Jesse again was a backup quarterback and was 0-3 on the season. His junior year, Eau Claire was 7-3 on the season. Jesse was 2 for 2 for 2 touchdowns, both as a holder on fake field goals that year. His senior year, Jesse became the starting quarterback. The Blue Golds were 6-4 on the season. Jesse completed 214 out of 331 passes for 1,959 yards and 14 touchdowns, including a 6-touchdown day versus Illinois Wesleyan. Jesse was named second-team All-WIAC that year. His leading receiver that year, Larry, was his twin brother, Darren.
Oh, wow.
So pretty interesting
Yeah,
there.
that'd be cool.
Jesse holds the Eau Claire record for most touchdown passes in a game with 6. His 214 completions in a season ranks first in Blue Gold history. His 331 attempts that year ranks 5th. His 64.7 completions percentage in a season ranks 2nd all time. Darren's 61 pass receptions that year ranks 1st all time in Blue Gold history.
Oh, wow.
So, Jesse graduated from UW Eau Claire in 2006 with a bachelor's degree in health sciences. He then graduated from UW La Crosse in 2010 with a doctorate in physical therapy. Today, Jesse is employed by Bell & Health in Green Bay as a doctor of physical therapy and a board-certified sports specialist. Jesse is passionate about working with athletes with throwing injuries. And just another note about his twin brother. His twin brother is also a physical therapist, except in Eau Claire at Marshfield Clinic.
Oh, wow.
I said, these guys are totally attached at the hip.
Yeah, wow. Well, they did well for themselves,
Yeah,
though.
Anyway, Jesse and his wife Naomi, who is also a physical therapist she's with Prevera Health in Green Bay. They have 2 children, Bailey and Camden, and reside in Green Bay. So Jesse Krzyzanowski.
All right, there you go. Yeah, it's nice to hear. How well they do. Once they get out of college.
Said it's amazing how many kids that I've done over the years. They end up being doctors, and accountants, and it just really doing well for themselves.
Yes.
And it just shows. I think if you do well in sports in high school and things like that, it carries on to your later life.
Sure. Yeah. Well, obviously it does, because a lot of them guys a lot of them guys you talk about, or gals, they do well afterwards.
Yep.
All right. One note here: the Brewers opener for today rained out.
Yeah. So tomorrow, and of course, a lot of teams do that, scheduling an open day after the opener just for the rain day, but I'll go on my single rant about not opening in Milwaukee.
Don't know why.
MLB. Come on now.
I think there's a lot of dome stadiums. They can open them all.
Yeah, you got it. There's probably enough roofs that you could open the season that way and not have to worry about rainouts. But enough said.
Well, everybody's got to have their home opener.
I guess so. And New York trumps Milwaukee.
I guess. So tomorrow at 12:40, Freddie Peralta will still be the starter for that game.
And Jose Quintana. But Brewers kind of injury prone right here early in the season. Now they've lost Garrett Mitchell for a couple of months, probably with a fracture in his left hand. But if Jackson Churio is going to show what he is, this is his time, I think.
Yeah,
it's going to be him and probably Sal Frelick in center. And
Frelick, they thought maybe go in the infield, but now with Mitchell injured.
Yeah, he'll probably one of them's going to be in center, and the other's going to be in right, and Yelich will be in left. And it opens it up for Joey Ortiz at third base.
Right.
And it sounds like he'll be the starter there, but I think it's a much better offensive ball club than they've had lately, Larry. You've got some pop. Both your catchers are excellent hitters, and Reese Hoskins, I think, is going to be the real deal at first, and then.
He's had a pretty good spring.
You bet. So we'll see. But Jake Bowers, they will be the left-handed DH, I think, and he'll also do some time at first base. Mm-hmm. And the big thing, you've lost your closer. And I think it's going to come down to the hot guy there, Trevor McGill, Joel Payamps, Abner Uribe, Hobie Miller, Elvis Peguera. Those are going to be the guys probably taking the ball in the ninth inning. Somebody's going to have to take over for a while now. So
yeah. Well, Abner Uribe is probably the hardest thrower of those guys.
Yeah.
So
and McGill is right up there too, and Peguera is right behind him.
Yeah. So I would think they would go with the hard thrower as their closer.
My guess is McGill is going to be the starter, the first guy out.
Okay.
I think at the start of the season, and it could be his job to lose. I think they like Payamps in that eighth inning setup. He's got experience there.
Yeah.
Uribe and Milner. Peguero, seventh inning, sixth inning. You got Bryce Wilson still around, so we'll see.
Yeah,
but they've got a lot of options anyway in the bullpen.
We'll see how new manager Pat Murphy.
We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how he manages.
Right.
So
if he does the same as his predecessor, or
because
he was pretty good at it.
Yeah,
Council was pretty good at maneuvering them pitchers around.
Absolutely. Council looked at it, Larry, as a 27-out game.
Sometimes I think he may have looked at some of those, or took them pitchers out a little early. But that's the way we all looked at it. But.
Yeah, I always thought maybe in some ways, he overmanaged.
Yeah,
but
played the analytics a little bit too much.
He was Mr. Analytic, and that started upstairs with David Stearns too.
Yeah.
David Stearns was Mr. Analytic too.
Because there wasn't a lot of times where starting pitchers went past the sixth inning.
No,
no matter what they were doing.
No, and they had the horses.
Yeah.
With Burns and Woodruff and Peralta, all had 7-8 innings.
Sure.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
A guy like Wade Miley, who is not going to be starting out injured, but it will come. Yeah, he is a 6-inning guy because he throws a lot softer, has a lot of foul balls. His pitch count goes up.
Yeah.
But the bigger guys, I'd like to see go a little longer,
I know.
and also give your bullpen more rest a little bit too.
So the Brewers start not today, but tomorrow at 12:40 is when their game at Citi Field is scheduled.
Any predictions on the 2024 season, Larry?
I think the Brewers have a chance to take first. I know a lot of people don't think they do,
Yeah.
but I think that young roster theirs is pretty good.
I think they're going to be right in contention for the. I think the Central is wide open.
Yeah.
Everybody say, well, Council at the Cubs. Well, the Cubs pitching is not that great, and they did re-sign Bellinger, so their offense is going to be pretty decent. Cincinnati, a lot of young talent, but they don't have the strong pitch.
Cardinals?
I don't know. Well, they've got the offense, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Pittsburgh
They did go out and sign Sonny Gray, so I think the Central is wide open.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing there, though, is I do not see a wild card coming out of the Central. I think,
you got to win the division.
I think
Yeah.
Philadelphia, Arizona, San Francisco. Now that they picked up Snell in free agency, is going to be a threat. Arizona, very good young ball
Yeah.
club. So
Yeah, you're gonna have to win the division.
yeah, I like the Braves in the East, Dodgers in the West.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. Yep.
And in the National League, Baltimore in the East, Minnesota in the Central, Houston in the West, Texas, Yankees, and Seattle as wild cards. So
Sounds good to me.
yeah,
Yeah.
Dodgers versus Houston in the World Series.
A lot of times it's
It's
never
not money.
It's never the team you think it's going to be.
And Houston went out and signed Josh Hader. So
Yeah.
So that'll be, I don't know. And on paper, like I said, we'll get into my prediction probably in a minute, but don't take this as a grain of
Yeah,
salt. So
yeah.
Before we get, I just want to make a Packer note too.
Yep.
Everybody thought they'd go out and get a kicker to compete for Carlson. Well, they went out and got a kicker.
Yeah, they
They
did.
signed Greg Joseph from the Vikings, and of course he's no picking off the scrap heap.
No.
I mean, last year he was 24 for 30, 4 out of 7 beyond 50 yards, long of 54, 36 out of 38 extra points. For his career, he's 100 out of 121 field goals, 16 out of 28 beyond 50 with a long of 61. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you
He'll
what,
give him his run for his money.
I think Carlson could be in trouble.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. If Joseph comes in there and kicks consistently, it could be Mr. Carlson could be down the road. So
Yeah.
so.
And we'll find out maybe in the future. Maybe the Packers playing in Brazil this year.
Yeah. The opener.
word of it anyway.
Opener with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's,
There's talk of it. We'll
yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah, so.
We'll see what happens. All right, NCAA bracket. We got a couple of minutes here to get into this.
Yeah.
The Sweet 16. It starts tomorrow. Or actually, no, tonight. Tonight it starts.
Tonight.
And it continues tomorrow.
Yeah.
They got 4 games on the schedule for tonight.
Yeah.
So I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, only 4 wrong so far. So
Wow.
I've got plenty of teams left in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
I got UConn. I've got Illinois taking on Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina I still have left. Arizona. And then I have Houston against Duke. NC State against Marquette. Purdue. And I have Creighton taking on Tennessee. So I have all those teams left.
I have 9. 9 left. So
The big one you do not have
yes.
left.
Yeah.
Thank you to the young boy that
Mr. Facial. Wait till I see him.
Yeah. Kentucky,
no.
no.
I thought it was a good pick. I was looking for a pick other than UConn because I
Yeah.
wanted to be different than somebody. Well,
Yeah.
I picked the wrong one. But
Yeah, I got UConn still taking on Marquette in the championship.
Yeah.
So
I have UConn, and I have amended my bracket, of course. I have amended it to Tennessee in the final.
okay, all right.
My final 4, though, I have Marquette and Tennessee, and one side UConn and Arizona on the other. So,
Okay.
So
Well, you have UConn and Marquette, but I
Yeah.
have
yeah.
North Carolina and Creighton
Okay.
in the final 4.
Okay.
So
All right. Pretty interesting. It's been a good.
yeah, there's been some really good games.
Yeah, you bet. You know,
Yeah.
I said.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, I said it's I said I always thought well the 5-12 used to be the big upset, and now they say 6-11. 4-13 is getting to be pretty common.
It is. Yes, it is. Yeah.
4-13. There were 2 4-13s this year, so it's,
Yeah, it's anybody's game again.
I'll tell you what, it's fun to watch, and that's why this tournament is popular, and of course the girls' tournament is very popular this year with the Caitlin Clark thing, So it's
And Juju Watkins.
yes,
A
so
lot of good young players.
Oh man, yeah.
The girl from UConn,
Yes.
Beckers.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's a lot of good talent there as
Yeah,
well.
so the girls' tournament's been exciting. The boys' tournament's been exciting. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yes,
So.
and again, the men will get underway with the first half of the Sweet 16 tonight,
Yep.
and they'll do it again
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
And then you'll have the Thursday night winners playing Saturday, and the Friday nights Sunday, and then next week from Saturday is the big day.
Yep, Final Four, and then the
Yep.
championship a week from Monday.
Yeah, so
All right. Well, that's what we have for today's show here as we wrap it up with our bracket.
yeah,
We'll see what happens.
yep.
NCAA men's
Yeah.
basketball. That'll
Love
do
it.
it for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
We'll talk to you again next week.